Today is October 29th, 2025. I am interviewing David Walker at the Butler VA Medical Center. Mr. Walker is 92 years of age. He was born on August 1, 1933. I am Chuck Jennings, the interviewer. I am being assisted by George Richardson, videographer. Mr. Walker, what branch of service did you serve in?
The Army.
And what was the highest rank you achieved?
E7 Sergeant First Class.
And where did you serve?
I served in Germany as in the occupation army. I came back in 52. I was discharged. I re-enlisted in 1955 and was shipped to Fort Jackson for a refresher course, then to Fort Sam Houston, Texas, where I was trained as a neuropsychiatric corpsman. They shipped me from Fort Sam to Leavenworth, Kansas, to the disciplinary barracks. The unit said they would never use a psychiatric medic. So I had gone to the Inspector General, and he told me to apply for Officer Candidate School, which I did do, and I got sent down to Fort Benning, Georgia. This would be in 1956 for Officer Candidate School. I got kicked out just as I made senior candidate when the young lieutenant shoved a bayonet up my nose. And I took it off of him and asked him to repeat his question, which was, could you kill a man with a bayonet? And 15 minutes later, I was out of OCS and got shipped to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. From Fort Leonard Wood, I got shipped to the 5th General Hospital in Stuttgart, Germany. At that point, I got married in 1953, so I got my wife to come over to Germany. Our first child was born there in 1958.
I'm going to stop you here just for a minute or two. Now, when you were on some of the bases in, let's start with Germany first. Was there any experiences that stood out in your mind?
In Germany?
Yeah.
For occupation?
Yeah.
Yes, I wound up one day out in the field. They told me to hang my Red Cross brassard wherever I was going to set up as a medic. I was beating on a rock. I thought it was a rock. It was a Teller mine. Of course, it didn't take me long to get out of the way. Then they EOD came and took care of it. I can remember in Heilbronn, Germany, which was where I went originally. We had May Day demonstrations, and we had to go out in force to clear the streets.
Now, did you use tear gas, or you guys just walked on the thing?
Well, we used gas, and I did fire a .30 caliber air-cooled machine gun at the Rat House in Heilbronn. The marks are still there, but that cleared them out real quick. I did it under orders, not that I wanted to, but my main thing was being a medical corpsman, line corpsman, where I was assigned to a M Company, 112th Infantry, which was a heavy weapons company, and I served with the machine gun platoon. The unit, we were in Hohenfels, which was a maneuver area, and I got asked by the platoon lieutenant to serve as a gunner. He said, "Give your Red Cross to somebody else."
Yeah.
Because I was a better machine gunner than most of these people. We had what we called a mad minute. Everything that was fired was tracer. I can remember kicking out a big European hare, a rabbit about the size of a beagle dog, and he unfortunately passed after being chased by air-cooled and water-cooled machine guns. The Germans in 1952 received their first edition of taking over themselves. The army occupation died out. And this is where I came back to the States. Was discharged at the National Guard unit in Harrisburg. Then I went to work as a right after being married in June of '53. I put furnaces and did the plumbing and heating for a contractor.
Let's go back to Fort Sam Houston. I'm reversing your order, but let's go back to Fort Sam Houston.
Okay.
What were you expecting out of being a medic? Did you have ambitions of being a medic? How'd you end up doing that?
When I re-enlisted, they decided they needed medics worse. I wanted to be an engineer and learn the heavy equipment, how to drive and operate heavy equipment. But they said, once we're a medic, you're still a medic. And that's I got a chuckle being sent to a basic medical training. I knew more about what was going on than the
Instructor.
guys that were teaching me. I had made the rank as E5 sergeant, and they didn't give it to me when I went back in. I had to start out again at the PFC. When the course ended and everybody got their orders, I didn't get any. I spent about 3 weeks waiting to find out where I was going. And that's when they found out that I was supposed to be a cadreman instead of a student. And they did find out then that I was being sent to take the neuropsychiatric course. And then they shipped me off to the Army prison at Leavenworth, and they had no use for neuropsychiatric. Everybody in the place was a little off, I think.
I assume you went to school for that. What was your schooling like for the neuropsychology?
Oh, it was a lot of psychology studies, then how to do where we actually held the electrodes to the person's head for treatment. Then I got assigned to a psychiatric ward at Fort Sam, and it was a pretty tight run unit, and unfortunately we had a breakout. We were chasing patients all over San Antonio, and we got them back. At the end of that course, I think I was number 4 in the doing the tests and everything, and that is what, when I got shipped to Leavenworth, I kept trying to transfer to Fitzsimmons Army Hospital in Colorado, and that's when they told me that that wasn't going to happen, and I went to the IG. Inspector General, and he told me to sign up for Officers Candidate School. He said, I am the person that's going to be senior on the list. And he did get me to infantry OCS. I did everything to try and get to to the Medical Service Corps branch, but that didn't happen. Like I said, it was halfway through. I got the little blue epaulet that we wore, and my platoon officer sent out the word that Candidate Walker report to his office. Well, you went down there and you took your fist and tried to put it through the door, and then he'd say, "Drive in here, candidate." You would hit the sides like you were standing in the door ready to jump out of an airplane. And then it was, "Drive in here, candidate." I went in, reported to him, and the next thing I know, I had a bayonet sticking in my nose. And the question was, "Candidate, could you kill a person with a bayonet?" I said, "Sir, never having been in combat, I don't know." That's when I grabbed the bayonet, put it under his chin, and said, "Now ask me the question again." Which, like I said, that went over like a lead balloon. 15 minutes later, I was gone. I didn't know I could pack clothes so fast. And it irritated me that I got busted from E5 sergeant to private. And they put me on KP in my company's mess hall, which should never have happened. And I was there for about 3 weeks before I got shipped off to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. There I went to work first as an ambulance driver, and for the hospital. It was the old cantonment type hospital that was barracks set out all over the place. I then got transferred to the NP ward, neuropsychiatric ward, and from there I got shipped over to Germany again, to 5th General Hospital at Stuttgart, Bad Cannstatt. While I was stationed there, my first child was born. It was my son, which, God bless him.
I'm sorry, you were busted down. Did you get your rank before you went over to Germany again, or?
No.
So your wife couldn't?
I got E4 when I was in Germany, and that allowed my wife to come over. The wards there, where the neuropsychiatric ward was at the 5th General Hospital, they had a door at the very rear of the place that we had to keep locked. That door led from the that point at the 5th General Hospital to the Bahnhof, the main railroad station in Stuttgart. And this is how the German army would bring their troops in there and take them up to the hospital through that underground.
Now, in the hospital in the lower levels, did they have any signs of swastikas that chipped off the wall and in the ceilings or anything?
No,
No, okay.
no, after serving, at the 5th General, I got shipped back to Fort Rucker, Alabama. And I was the ward master on the pediatric and women's ward. It was very interesting because General Easterbrook, that was our commanding general of the post, his wife worked for me. And a wonderful woman. She was one of the daughters of General Stilwell from the CBR.
Yeah, urban.
And I had the opportunity then to apply for the 91C40 rank and job. That being, I got shipped to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Went to school for a year to get the rank. I was given the opportunity to do surgical, actually do the surgery, do veterinary food inspection, set up water plants and sewage disposal. I got shipped from them after that year to Fort Dix, New Jersey. Actually, it was the 43rd Artillery Battalion, Nike Ajax missiles. And I got moved from the Fort Dix area south to I forget the name of the town, to another missile battery. I was there for the 19, whenever Khrushchev sent troops to Cuba,
Yeah.
we were up on 5-minute actual. We literally had the missiles were in the air or in there ready to go. I had made E5 sergeant again, and I was on duty as charge of quarters when we got the word from Colorado to bring them up on actual status. We had a young lieutenant there that he was to the troops like Lieutenant Fuzz. in Beetle Bailey. He did everything wrong, and he had the fire control that had a cover. When you lifted that cover up, they knew it out in Colorado at the mountain.
Yeah.
And the word came over real quick and on the radio. PH57, which that was our call sign on the radio. Get that stupid idiot off the firing pin. Okay. I had to get the telephones, Lieutenant Nameless, get your hand off the unit. You have been warned by the troops out in Colorado. And after serving there, I got shipped back to Germany, this time to the 97th General Hospital in Frankfurt, Germany. There I worked first as a neuropsychiatric tech because they needed help in that position. After about 6 weeks, I took over the surgical wards. Phone call. I worked there for a year, and then they sent me home. The first time I have ever had to wear civilian clothes, not military, because they were sneaking troops out of Germany to send to Vietnam. And I thought it was rather dumb because you still got your duffel bag on your shoulder. So, but I got shipped back there to Fort Knox, Kentucky, to a armored unit, 1st Battalion, 33rd Armor. Approximately 6 months later, I got, well, it wasn't even 6 months, about 4 months later, I got shipped to Fort Benning, Georgia, to the 95th Evac Hospital. I had the surgical section, and 8 times we got orders to go to Nam. 7 times we stood down. At that point, I packed that evac hospital up 8 times before we finally left. In January 1968, 4 o'clock in the morning, I got a telephone call, said, pack up your bags and get to Lawson Airfield, Fort Benning, immediately. So that's, I went down to Lawson Field. They put me in the aircraft was a Beaver aircraft. Flew me and 2 other Sergeant First Classes over to Savannah. We stayed at the airfield one night, loaded on the old Marine Phoenix, a United States Navy ship during the Korean War that got bought up by a civilian unit. And I took the hospital to Vietnam. We went down through the canal, Panama Canal. We couldn't go through when we arrived because they had a tanker, oil tanker stuck at the Gaillard Cut. They put us on standby for 4 days till we finally got ready to go. At that time, another ship backed into us. So now we can't go. We have to wait for the Coast Guard to come and say it was floatable, which it was. And we went through the canal to Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. There we took on some cargo and got sent to Guam. We spent 3 days in Guam while they put these 90-foot, 120-foot barges across the ship. And once they got those all together, we did go on to through the Philippines to the river that went up into Saigon. It was Bung Tao, which...
Yeah, really, jumping back to Hawaii, you were there for 4 days?
No, we were there for 1 day.
1 day, oh, I thought when they loaded that on
Yeah, they loaded the cargo. We were allowed to get off. And we assisted one of the maritime crew. He wanted some booze, so we went up to Fort Shafter. We got $100 worth of alcohol for that. And then we said, now how are we going to get this back on since we have a police officer sitting at the end of the gangway? He says, don't worry, I'll get rid of the cop. So we got up to almost to the gangway, and this trooper went and started his drunken walk towards the gangplank. Just went past the officer and went over the side. Now the police officers running to get a ring to throw to him, and we got on the ship. At the time, we did okay. Once we got back out onto the ocean, he couldn't leave the booze alone. And they, of course, got him. And they didn't tell him how they got aboard. He stayed out, but the Union chief went up on the bridge when the captain had all those bottles up there, and he pitched them all over the side one at a time. And the Union boss, of course, gave it the salute. And I don't know what came out of how much it cost the sailor, but that's when we got to Guam. We were allowed, of course, off the ship at the time, and we visited some of the different areas. There was still, tanks on the beach that all rusted up, that from when they went to during the Second World War to claim Guam. Of course, when we got back on board, the first officer came down and said, "You want to make a little bit of money?" I said, "Doing what?" He said, "Well, hold sick call, and we have one of the water tanks that we have to chip and clean it up because it's rusty." I made $700 there to take with me to Vietnam. Of course, while I was in Vietnam, I had that $700 to play with, and I only drew $15 of my pay. The rest got shipped to home. And we got to the hospital. We were getting the hospital off the ship when.
Yeah, before doing all that, do you remember getting to know him, and it was probably a little bit of sea breeze, but the heat and humidity as you walked outside?
It was just like Georgia. But the temperatures were up. We spent more time around 105 degrees, except during the monsoon. Monsoon, when it came, it went down to 70. I sent home and had the wife send me long johns because I was actually shivering. It's 70 degrees. And
I'm sorry.
going back to
unloading the
getting
ship.
off the ship, Charlie put a rocket through the funnel of an American refrigerated ship that the Navy was using for stores, that needed refrigerated. That was right on the other side of the pier from where we were And then I did get out. As a scrounger, there was this beautiful generator unit that was sitting on the hatch by where I was at on the ship. And some of our plates identifying as the 95th Evac wound up on that generator unit. We got it off and on a low boy, and about that time the chief petty officer came down, and I said, what's the Army plate doing on my generator? I had no idea. It had our numbers. We're taking it. No, you aren't taking it. He caught me. But we got up. The hospital was under canvas at the time. The Seabees had come in. They had concrete pads that they poured, and we set our wards up on them with the canvas top. On the wards were built out of wood. This was at Marble Mountain, south of Da Nang. We got opened up. We'd spend first 12 hours on the ward, 12 hours out on the line. Because we were right by the Oshaw Valley. We were getting troops in from there. In fact, a Marine came in with a Amtrak. I tried to stop it because all our electrical wires were still on the ground. He came down with that track and put us out of business. Luckily, the surgical unit had a generator of its own. The wards and their surgical setups were in their own metal units. The ICU, intensive care unit, was in a rubber must unit. It had tubes about like that, and they went up and over. And it was air conditioned for the patients. One day we had it almost collapse on us, and we figured we were taking fire at that time with and of course we were getting the patients and the mattresses down on the floor to try and give them some sense of safety. We found out that it was the New Jersey, sitting about 16 miles offshore, firing their big guns. And that's when we found out you could actually watch the 16-inch round go through the air. They were hitting a unit. We had a Marine air station off to our right flank, and the Viet Cong and actual Army, Vietnamese, North Vietnamese units wiped it out. We had POWs, they broke loose, and a Special Forces forward operating base on the other side of our hospital unit, which they went through and tore everybody up. They let the hospital go because we were taking care of civilians, and we found an awful lot of wounds that were maybe 2 weeks old. You knew who you had, but there's nothing you could do about it. That was in January of '68 during the Tet. We finally wound up being moved into a Quonset huts right outside of Camp Kenshaw, the Navy base. On the 4th of July, I moved all my people and ward. We did have several general officers visit us at the original station. General Westmoreland was one. I wound up on his bad side because I had 13 101st Airborne men casualties from the Hamburger Hill. He come in to pass out Purple Hearts I greeted him, I took him down, I said, "Sir, the first man to be decorated." Well, General Westmoreland kept walking. He goes down and he comes around, he says, "Sergeant, where are these people to be decorated?" I said, "Sir, I told you this was the first man." "Well, I don't have time to be pissing around like this." And I said, I lost all respect for that officer because he was the one, and you don't talk like that in front of the patients. He come back, the first sergeant was the first man to get his Purple Heart. He told the general where to put it. The general told my colonel, "Put this man in your office now." So I got shipped to the office. What are they going to do, send me to Vietnam? You know, it was him that was causing the problem. But those 13 airborne troopers, each one of them refused their Purple Heart. I went to the colonel's office and I waited. The colonel finally showed up, had a grin on his face, and he said, "Get the hell out of here." Nothing was happening. On the 4th of July, we moved that tent unit to the new unit. We took care of an enormous amount of wounded. One of the worst was 38 Marines that got napalmed. And I was in the process of making an NCO club when I saw this huge helicopter come in, and I said, damn, people are running into the ER. They don't look like they got clothes on. Well, they didn't. I went down to help out, and another sergeant that was with me. Of course, they didn't want anything to do with us because you guys napalmed us. Well, it was the Navy that did it. Not we kept trying to tell them we're Army. We're trying to give morphine to them to get them a little calmed down and get them into the surgery right away. I was running the ICU there, and we did have quite a few of those guys showed up. And a lot we shipped out down to the Navy hospital, which was down by where our original unit went in. Things did quiet down a little bit. The rest of the time I was there. In December of '68, I got transferred from the 95th Evac Hospital to the 312th Evac Hospital in July. That was it. They didn't want everybody leaving at the same time, and that way they could pull people in that had just got in country to take over your position. When I got to July, they gave me the Vietnam civilian ward and napalm, the POW ward. It was tough trying to take care of these people, especially after seeing some of the stuff that they did to our troops. We had troops come in there, from My Lai, the one trooper that was there with his genitals removed, and of course he was dead when we got him. I got sent out sometime from there on med caps, military, where we went out to take care of usually an orphanage. I got sent to I'm forgetting
That's fine.
the units, but At my age, I'm lucky. They shipped me out one time on an island just off what they called Russell Beach. They choppered us out with a doctor, several nurses, and a couple of medics, me being one of them, because you've been here. And yeah, I said, yeah, and I got 3 days before I go home. You shouldn't do this. And I actually wound up there, and the kids, which usually come running looking for candy, we had no kids hitting us for anything. Like I said, wounds 2 and 3 weeks old. And I called back to get the chopper to get us out of there after a couple of hours. I said, well, we're weathered down. It's raining, we can't come out. We had to wait until the next morning. When I got on the radio again, I told them to get a GD chopper out here now. We need to get out of here. And they did bring it and got us out. I went to the chief nurse, Colonel Walker, and told her, I know I'm still in the Army, but please don't send people out that are to go home in a couple of days. It's not fair. We've had our share of everything that we can take. We're fed up with it. We are scared to death. We want to go home. Well, the day that it come to go home, they started shelling us about 3 o'clock in the morning. And finally, about 6, they quit shelling. They kept trying to hit the American Division headquarters by walking right up our company street. It led right to the division headquarters. And 6 o'clock they quit shelling. And I'll tell you, the short timer emblem was a helmet and boot tops. And I felt that's the way I should be. I ran over to the mess hall, got a cup of coffee, come running back, signed out, started out the door, and I looked up and saw a rocket coming in, and it blew me back through the building. I said, do I have a chance to get to the bunk? And boom, I got blown back, took out my hearing. I got shrapnel in my right hip. They shelled us again for about another hour, and I had gone to the ER. they x-rayed my hip, and I actually had a set of Kelly's forceps that I was picking the shrapnel out of my hip myself, because they had a bunch of Marines at the sand ramp that, in the parlance of, in the medical units, we had a train wreck coming in, and that was the Marines that got hit. The doc that took care of me said he was going to ship me back to Japan. And I said, I've got an airplane leaving today, and I'm going to be on it. So I went AWOL. Went back out, asked, I said, is there anybody here stupid enough to get the Sarge down to the airfield? One guy said, I'll take you. I went to get my gear. All that I had left was a Samsonite bag. My duffel bag looked like it got sent through a shredder. And so I grabbed the bag. It survived. It was amazing. And I got down to the airfield, checked in. He said, well, you're going to Da Nang? Get out on the tarmac. He's coming in and he's not stopping. So the C-130 came in, and I was out there chasing the ramp. The crew chief helped me get on, and the other people that was there, 4 or 5 of us, we didn't even get in our seats before that ramp was up and we were taking off. When we got up to Da Nang, I looked out through the only porthole in the C-130 and saw WP all around where the terminal was at Da Nang. Crew chief came out and said, same thing like pickup. He's gonna drop the ramp. You can get off at the terminal, and then we're out of here. Well, I wasn't going to the terminal because it's too much happening. I jumped out, got off the airfield over into it used to be a stream bed, and that's where I stayed, maybe a half hour. And then I heard a Jeep coming on the road that was on the other side of that stream bed. And so I'm running out. I get out there and I wave the Jeep down. And I'll be doggone if it wasn't my old company commander at the 95th Evac. And Sergeant Walker, what the heck happened to you? I got hit by a rocket. I'm still in the same bloody fatigues. Nobody give me fatigue. And he said, well, I want you to meet my replacement. The replacement's face was as white as this table. And we got over to the road that took us up into the hospital unit, and they stopped us. You can't go on the road because the Arvin ammunition dump got hit and the stuff's exploding. Well, Captain Topper took us out onto the beach, and that's how we got to the 95th Evac. I got there to 44th Med Brigade, which was in the same unit, and as I walked in, the sergeant major had his back to me at the door, and he said, "What do you mean Sergeant Walker's missing in action?" And the other master sergeant that was there says, he points his finger at me. Sergeant Major Murphy turns around. He says, "The hell he's missing. He's right here in front of me." I gave him my clearance papers. He signed off. I got back out, got a ride back to the airfield, and caught the next plane to Cameron Bay, which went from Da Nang to Pleiku to Cameron. When I got there, I tried to get a clean pair of fatigues, and they were mad because all my stuff got shredded that I was supposed to turn in. They wouldn't give me a pair. I'm in a bloody, setup. Well, I met one of our sergeant first classes for the 312 coming in off his R&R, and I told him about being hit, and he looked at me real funny like, and I said, "Yeah, it's probably still working on it," but they finally called the Flying Tiger Airlines that I was supposed to be on, showed up, and I was out and got on it. Everybody kept looking at me, and the stewardesses, they couldn't believe that, somebody with all bloodied up was there. Well, they got back. We stopped at Yokosuka, Japan, to refuel, and flew on to Seattle, to the post. They gave me a nice clean uniform. But the funniest part of the whole thing is when I got off the plane and came to going through customs. The customs officer looked at me real funny like, "You got anything to declare?" I said, "Yes, sir, I've got 2/5 of old turkey that the nurses gave me on my way home. Just get the hell out of here." I got cleared, I got on the bus. Went in, they put us in greens, said they wanted to give us a steak dinner, which I said, "The heck with it, I don't want it." One other sergeant and myself from the same unit, we were being shipped back to the 2nd Evac Hospital at Fort Benning. And we went down to the airstrip at SeaTac Airstrip, and we put up with a bunch of hippies. I got spit on. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I told them that they were quite lucky. If I had a rifle, you'd be dead now. And I suggest you get away from me, because all hell's gonna break loose in just a few minutes. Well, they took me at my word and they got away from me. My flight came in. We first went to O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Then we had to go from one terminal, I said it like halfway around the world, to where we picked up our flight to Columbus, Georgia. Well, actually to Atlanta. And we made it. I'm home, called the wife, told her to come and get me. And that was, it was great. I was at the second evac hospital for a couple of months until they decided I should be up at Martin Army Hospital at Fort Benning, Georgia. And they transferred me up there. I went as ward master of the surgical ward, both clean surgery and dirty. I stayed there pretty much out of a year, and I had left the wards to go take over the NCO in charge of the dermatology, and I got pulled from there in about three months. I was sent back. Well, I had one of my troopers that his hair was hanging down. I told him to go get a haircut. He told me what I could do. So I took him to the first sergeant. The first sergeant got the same story. We asked him, he got taken to the company commander, a very young second lieutenant, which let him go. And he told me, Sergeant Walker, I'm going to fine you $50 for being negligent in your job. Sir, you can't do it. My job ended when I brought the trooper to the first sergeant. The first sergeant's job was partially over when he brought him to you. You're the one that let him go. Not me, not the first sergeant. I turned to the first sergeant, I said, that does it, Top. I'm heading over to personnel. I'm putting in for retirement. You can't do that. And I said, well, sir, you just watch me, sir. He called a buddy of his in Washington. I got placed on orders for November of 1972. Had time before I was eligible to really get out. And that when I found out that I was being shipped back to Germany to the 325th Station Hospital in Munich, I got a buddy of mine in Washington too that saw that the young lieutenant got a chance to test the thermometer up in Thule, Greenland. I went. I spent 9 months actually in Germany. They at the first month that I was there, they had another sergeant first class in charge. He was 7 years junior to me. And I went to the chief nurse and asked her for the job. "Oh, you're putting in to retire." I said, "Until the day I get out of the Army, I am still your senior NCO. That other gentleman is my junior. How would you like to work for a second lieutenant?" "Oh, that would never happen." I said, "Okay, ma'am." Well, I lucked out. I'd worked 10 days on and 4 days off. I called Heidelberg, asked for the chief nurse of USAR to make an appointment to visit with her. I got the okay. It just so happened that she, Colonel Freeze, had been my chief nurse at the 95th Tobacco Hospital. I told her what was going on, and she says, "What are you doing Wednesday?" About 7 o'clock, and I said, "I'll be coming off shift. I'll be in the mess hall. You be there." Wednesday I get off duty, I go to the mess hall to eat, and while I'm chowing down, I hear, "Sergeant Walker, what are you doing here?" It was Colonel Freeze. She, in turn, asked the lieutenant colonel, "What do you have Sergeant Walker doing?" And she, "Oh, he's our night NCO." "Night NCO? He should be in charge of the unit." And she said, "Well, he's putting in for retirement." She turned around, she said, "That doesn't matter. Would you like to work for a second lieutenant?" Right then, the lieutenant knew where it was coming from.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "Well, Sergeant Walker, can you pull duty tonight and we'll transfer you tomorrow?" So far, good. And that was it. Spent the rest of the day with Colonel Freeze, escorted her back to her ride back to Heidelberg, and needless to say, it was a good time with her. Bless her heart. She's passed on now, But at that time, I got to finish up my time, and in February of 1973, I was back in the States. I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, where I was put on I was going to school as where the Army offered to put you on so that you could, have something other than the military to do. And I had cleared it with the chief of the Georgia Wildlife and Fisheries to be taught to take the job as a fisheries biology aide. And so actually the last 3 months that I spent in the service, I was working for the state of Georgia. And it was a pleasure to do it. I went back 3 days before I was to retire. I pulled one night shift as charge of quarters for this unit. And when I came off of it, I was
Checked
done.
out.
Checking out as of 1 June 1973. I was back to life as a retired NCO.
No, I know you. How'd you come back to Pennsylvania?
I came back to PA because I hadn't been home for about 5 years. And I had, when I got retired, down in Columbus, I went to work as a warehouseman in an electrical supply company. I went to work, like I said, as a electrical supply warehouseman, and I hadn't been home in nearly 5 years. So I got a hold of my company. It was Mr. Burchard, which his father was a general, and the partner, which was a colonel in the Air Force. And I told him, I said, I gotta take 2 weeks to go home, visit my people before I come back. When I came back to Butler, I had a bunch of sick people. Mother-in-law, my father, stepfather, and I said, as much as I didn't want to, I had to come back to take care of them. And so I gone back to Columbus, cleared it with the people, gave them 2 weeks notice, and then came back home. I had tried to go to the Fish Commission to be a fisheries biology aide. They weren't doing any hiring. I went to work for warehouse electrical supply here in Butler, and was out on the road as their outside salesman. I dealt at that time with doing like parking lots, factories, doing all kind of high-powered electrical units that I was selling. And I finally, in '96, I had to give it up. It was just being too much. And the fact that I was being shortchanged pay-wise. They were using my military retirement money so that they could pay me less money. And when I found out this was what was happening, that was it. It was time to leave. And so I left the unit. My night job I stayed with. I was a deputy game warden. And I said, all the negatives that I got with the salesman's job, I went to that night sort of smooth things out. I was able to, work fine. But at that time, after I retired from it, I came out here to the VA in their old building on Newcastle Road. I was quite familiar with that since my mother worked there as a nurse during the Second World War, and I got to visit the building 1. I found that they needed drivers to bring patients in for their appointments. So I went into that. After several years driving, I felt like I needed a break. So I asked to work within the unit. So they took me on, put me out on the front information desk. And 15 years later, I turned it out because I felt that I was pushing people around in wheelchairs that should have been pushing me. And so I sort of I said it's time to give it up.
Now, how many children did you have, and how many grandchildren or great-grandchildren now?
Well, I had 3 children. Out of that 3 children, I had 9 great-grandchildren. And out of the great-grandchildren, I have a great-great-granddaughter.
What was her name?
Her name is Bonnie Lynn, and she is my great-great-granddaughter. Just this morning before I came in for my appointment, Bonnie and I had some fun playing together because her and her mother live with me. They help take care of me. And I can't say enough about them.
Yeah.
And but I still feel that veterans should be helping veterans, and I'm still on the line. I'm quite active in the Military Order Purple Heart, which meets up in Du Bois the second Wednesday of the month. And the Disabled American Veterans, where I'm the Senior Vice Commander, and I have stopped going to the Vietnam Veterans of America because it's just, while it's not as far as Du Bois, it's just that I can't take some of the stuff that the veterans down there pull. So, but that's about it.
Well, at this time, I'd like to thank you for the interview. Thank you to the service to this nation and to the state of Pennsylvania. Thank you very much.
Thank you.